you ready to have your mind blown with this here little fun fact of the day and how haunting and shocking the connection and remarkably similar the behaviors of narcissists are to parasitoids in the ways they both depend on living in close association to their supply or host, and the tactics in which they use to alter and influence their behavior for their own benefit, with one species in particular that will blow your socks off to how it is as if narcissists are literally reincarnated human form of these sinister little bugs. Parasitoids are more or less like a mix between parasite and a predator, mostly consisting of insects, with wasps, bees, and flies being the major players. But well, have you ever heard of the emerald cockroach wasp? If not, I guarantee after this, you will never forget the name of this soul-sucking creature ever again. These alluring and beautiful wasps, like narcissists, have a very dark side to them below their surface. Their interactions with their carefully hunted and strategically targeted host are as horrific and sinister as a narcissist manipulation to their supply. And well, let's just say if cockroaches have nightmares, these little fuckers would be the top runner on their list of things that haunt them in the night. So let's begin. Once these wasps have selected and honed in on the perfect host, they blindside and sneak attack the unexpected cockroach from behind. With the cockroach in its tight grasp, it administers its first sting into its back, temporarily immobilizing it to allow for the preparation and strategic administration of the second sting directly into the cockroach's brain, to which is where the mind control begins. The venom from the sting releases a trigger of dopamine into the cockroach. This feel-good hormone acting as a reward system in cockroaches just as it does in humans, and as the temporary paralysis wears off from the first sting, the cockroach instantly begins obsessively and excessively grooming itself to become the most perfect and germ-free as insectly possible host. This flood of dopamine is exactly what the narcissist stimulates in their supply during the love bombing phase, their victims becoming mesmerized and hooked through the narcissist's venomous flattery and charm. But that's not all. It gets much worse. As the venom continues to take control of the cockroach's mind, it loses its will to escape, avoid pain, or fend for itself, slipping into a state of hypokinesia, essentially becoming a zombie cockroach, at which point the wasp bites off its antennae and guides it back to its lair, pulling on the antennae's stumps, where it will isolate it from the outside world. The zombie cockroach reflexively responds to the pull as the narcissist guides the responses and reflexes of their supply to behave much like puppets, isolating them from their family, friends, and outside world to manipulate them without interference. Back at their lair, the wasp attach an egg to one of the cockroach's legs, then seals them and their offspring together. The venom, continuing to work its magic, slows down the metabolism of the roach, ensuring that it stays alive for the wasp's larvae to hatch from their egg. Once hatched, will wiggle its way inside of the cockroach, where it will begin eating the cockroach alive from the inside out, using this host ultimately to supply food for its larva, as the narcissists use their supply to fuel it with the external validation necessary to keep their false self alive, slowly killing and sucking the life out of their supply, draining them of their self-confidence, their sense of worth, and their soul to boost their ego and obtain this external validation, ultimately leaving them but a mere empty shell of the person they once were, as the wasp leaves the cockroach when the larva matures and emerges as a new wasp from the burrow, leaving the roach's carcass behind. But that's still not all. The motor abilities of the roach remained intact the entire time. It just simply was not inclined to use them. The venom never numbing the roach's senses, but rather altered the way the brain responded to them. And if the wasp didn't lure it back to its lair, isolating it from the world or any distractions to allow for its larva to feast on, if the roach were to escape or be separated from the wasp, the venom would wear off and it would return to being its normal cockroach life, just as you would if you escaped from the narcissist lair. The narcissist literally, just like these parasitoids, prey on and use others for their own benefit so they can remain in their delusional bubble. Staying will do nothing but eventually leaving you to become the empty shell of the person you once were. And just like the roach, it could cost you your life. Ain't nobody worth losing your soul and your life for. Their ass behind for good. Focus on you. Fuck the narcissist.